Good afternoon, Affordaplane builders. This is Terry Adair, Houston, Texas, the handyman for hire. RealHandyman.com is a website, and Terry Adair is a Facebook page. Working out here in the garage today, and we are working on the ailerons. And what we have out here is an aileron spar that's been cut to length. And not that end, let's go down to the other end. There we go, this end here. There we go, a little focus. You can see we've already done the work inside the tube. We actually have 3 layers of tubing in there. And we did that the other night. And one of the things that I did, in addition to the rivets that are going to hold all this together, is I mixed up a little bit of micro. A micro, something that we use from my raft project or my rattan project, where you use it for filling in holes on fiberglass. It's also a pretty decent adhesive, and looks kind of like that, mixed with some West Systems hardener and epoxy. And then we put a little bit of micro inside of it. Micro is just, I'll show you these here. I got a whole bunch of it left over from my very easy project. That's it down there. And inside the other can is Flox. And that's a slightly thicker additive. It's kind of like shredded cotton. And that's also a lot better for doing real secure joints. But I wanted to add a little bit of that to the inside of the tubing, just to give it a little additional glue stickage in there. And we'll see how that works out. But otherwise, the rivets will hold it in place as well. So what I have up here on the workbench is I have one aileron tube. And it has been sprayed with a little gray primer, just so that I could score a center line. And this tube has been rotated 90 degrees, but I have it blocked up and clamped down to my table all the way to the end. That's a 12-foot long aileron tube. Now the ends that have the blocks on them, those are the ends that we're going to put basically our servo horns or our turnbuckles or oh gosh, what do we call those? Bell cranks. Alright, those will attach to the end of the aileron at the 85-degree angle with the bearing sleeve down here that will attach right up here on the airplane. You can see how I have it set up. So, right now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I need to locate and punch and drill my 1/2-inch holes to accept the 1/2-inch tubing. Just these little spots here. So you can tell we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, plus the one on the end. That's 7 holes we need to drill all the way through. And keeping it lined up, this is how I did it. As you'll remember, I rotated that tube 90 degrees. So I sprayed the paint on it, and I took this block, and I just used that block to score a line all the way down the tube. And you can see there's the line. And I did that on both sides before I moved it out of the jig. Once both sides have been scored, I then had released all my clamps and rotated it 90 degrees. So now what I'll do is I'll come down here, I'll make a measurement, I'll use my center punch to pop a little dent, come on down, make another measurement, pop another little dent with my center punch, so on and so forth, all the way down. And I'll start with maybe an 1/8-inch drill bit to get the hole started. From there, I'll work my way up to the 1/2-inch. Once I've got all of them done on one side, then I'll go ahead and take the same exact measurements on the opposite side and do the same over there, drilling 1/2-inch holes. Remember, these tubes have to go all the way through. The support tubes have to go all the way through this tube and they get pop riveted in on this side, and the other side we sand off later. Okay, so I have 3 drills set up here. I have this one set up with the 1/8 inch, the 3/8, and the 1/2 inch. And this is the 1/2 inch tubing that we ultimately want to be able to fit inside the aileron tube. Now, I've already gone ahead and center punched these. I started with the 1/8. That's the 3/8 right there. All the way down, another 3/8, another 3/8. Keeping on center line. Okay, and we'll go ahead and do the 1/2 inch. Okay, now what I have here are 12 ribs for the aileron, and I've already sanded and I'm working on deburring those, and we will insert those into the 1/2 inch holes right here. I got a little bit of deburring to do on these, but they run all the way down, and as you can see, they'll go through like that. And we drill another hole on the other side just opposite of that, and then those will be riveted into place. Square them up. I'm going to use probably a little block or something to help keep them squared, like a little I don't know, 1/4 inch piece of steel or something underneath it to hold it level. And then up here on top, of course, you have your cross, and that's the trailing edge of the aileron. So, working on this tube right here, still deburring holes, and we've got all of our aileron spars cut, and I believe we got those at about 5.5 inches. Remember, they will stick out on the back side of the tube over here, and we will have to sand those down to contour. Well, hello, fellow Affordaplane builders. Are y'all asleep? I don't know what time it is. It's 0 dark 30 over here. Look at that. It don't matter where you go. It is dark out here. I wonder where the moon's at. Ah, there she is. Anyway, I have been working on these ailerons, and they provided me a little bit more challenge than I thought they would, but nothing we couldn't overcome. I think the biggest challenge was just getting all these holes lined up properly. Once it all goes together, everything seems to hold pretty tight. So what you're seeing here is 2 ailerons that are completed, with the exception of this little extra piece right here that I need to cut off. But because it's about 1 or, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going to do that out of respect out of my neighbors, because I'm just going to put it on that chop saw that's underneath that cloth and nip it off, and then I'll sand it smooth. But you can see we made the little clips here. Notice, I don't know, I have to go back and check my new plans, but you know, the plans on one page said use the 32 thousandths sheet metal to make these clips out of, and then later on in the plan section where the drawings are, it said use 20 thousandths. So, you know what? I compromised. I had plenty of 25 thousandths around, and that's what I used, 25 thousandths. And I also went ahead and just kind of curled it around the edges of the tube like that. But as you can see, these 2 ailerons, they match pretty good. So anyway, I got a couple other pictures that I took, and those will be in this video as well. Don't know if I'll put them at the end or in the middle. We'll see how it goes. But so far. Ailerons are done. Even made the belt cranks. They're sitting in the garage. Need to make me an 85-degree template so that I can attach those. And I think I need to make another trip to Aircraft Spruce via the internet. Pick me up some more hardware. And need some AN number, or AN, I believe it's AN 316As for those bale cranks. Anyhow, that's what's going on over here. Airplane still sitting in the garage. Oh, for those of you who have not seen yet, here is both wings completed, hanging there in the garage, side by side. There's one, there's the other. And we'll put those ailerons down there. That'll be probably my next trip, is to go ahead and also pick me up some more 3/16 stainless steel rivets to install the aileron clips with it. And I can then remove them once everything's lined up to cover. And that, folks, is a 1963 Chicago Schwinn cruiser that belonged to my grandfather, my late grandfather. It's one of the things that I picked up after my grandparents passed away, and probably shouldn't have done anything to it to maintain the value, but I don't plan on selling this bicycle. It's got more sentimental value to me. I used to ride that as a little boy when I'd go out to their house in the country, and when I picked it up, the only thing I really did was repowder coat the frame, steel wool the wheels, get a little bit of the rust off of it, but everything's original. I didn't change even the bearings, just repack them. That was a project I did, last year or so. Anyway, it's a nice little cruiser. So, that's it for now. I think it's time to go inside, get a cup of coffee, and call it a night. Later from the Adair shop, handyman for hire.